Molweni, hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the Sunrise Safari, where we are coming to you live from the Amakhala Game Reserve down in a freezing and pretty wet Eastern Cape province of South Africa. And I do say it's freezing. The wind feels about -5. My name is Ralph Kirsten. On the camera I've got Morgan. That is Morgan, and it's a cold thumb. Now I'm telling you that jackal is lying there because he's also freezing just like us. You'll see that this jackal's got his hair nice and ruffled, trying to keep warm. And that's what most mammals will do in this kind of weather, trapping the air close to the body, and in so doing keeping you a little bit warmer than you would if you didn't have that raised hair. I think this jackal is part of one of those pups that we saw earlier in the year, because he's rather relaxed, and it doesn't seem like it's a very old jackal at all. Always nice when they do hang around a bit. Terry, I'm glad to be out. We had a bit of a delayed start this morning because it was raining with this wind coming in sideways. If you know anything about the Eastern Cape weather, it can be quite difficult at times. When the wind combines with the rain, it can be exponentially worse than if it was one or the other on its own. Now here we are at Leeuwenbosch Pan. Lovely spot. We spent quite a bit of time here yesterday, and we actually had a jackal. I think it might have even been this exact individual.
So these are the flowers of the sausage tree, Camellia africana, the one that I was very excited has been flowering. And don't worry, the sausage tree drops flowers all the time, so beneath the sausage tree there were just tons and tons of flowers. If I lift this up for you to have a look, see how easily this base of the flower kind of rots away and it falls. So one of the things I really love about these flowers is the fact that they have a lot of associations with insects, carpenter bees in that particular tree, ants, butterflies, etc., you name it. Lots of insect association, but they have a very important mammal association, and that is with bats. So bats will pollinate this tree, and it's very obvious when you've seen a bat come to the tree. So that's what we're looking for now. Now, because of the shape of the flower, it's easier it's easier to put them down like this because it's rounded at the bottom, but it actually hangs like that. And very clearly, so if the nectar is being produced in there, that's where it's going to collect, right? So the bats are after the nectar, so we need to look at the back of the flower for any punctures. Now on this one, if I turn them all around, no obvious punctures on this one. Let's try this one. Ooh, don't fly away. Aha! Look at that. Very obvious puncture in just the right spot, the spot where all the nectar would collect. That tells me that a bat has been to visit this plant. I think I really love that when we observe different things, whether it's observing elephants that look a little red from throwing sand on themselves, or a little white for the same reason, or being able to see a puncture wound, I guess it is a wound, in this flower. It tells us a little bit about the experience of that animal or this plant.
Look at her eyes. She has got very big eyes, especially when she looks up like that. She's got a particularly expressive face, and it all revolves around her eyes. Massive eyes. Her eyes have got a lot of green in them as well, actually. So I was very lucky in my holiday with the family and the partner last week in the Kruger. We saw a beautiful young female leopard, and she also had these striking eyes like Tlalamba. I'm hoping she is still around this afternoon, but realistically speaking, she might not be. So I really am happy we've had kind of 3 days now of knowing she's in one spot and we can come and catch up with her. She's looking good, and she's processing that meat really well. Have a look at how her belly looks compared to something like the lions we saw yesterday. She hasn't gorged herself because she's had the time to spread it out nicely. She gorged a bit in the beginning, and then she relaxed a bit. She relaxed a little bit because she knows she's got that carcass and she can kind of spread it out very nicely over those few days. So we've got 3 white rhinos that have come down to get a drink of water. And I think it's the same 3 that I had yesterday, but they've moved. Nice to see them sticking together in a little crash. A crash of rhinos, that's the collective noun. Little oxpeckers running up and down, all 3 of them having a great time looking for ticks. On the right is the bull, on the left is the lady that I believe is called Auntie. The burned teat female. And in the middle a slightly younger one. And then an oxpecker on the far right that's just loving its perch, having a relaxing little stretch and grooming session on a rhino's back. It's quite sweet. Quite a few of them have started doing that now. Daryl, so not quite the same as it would work in predators. In predators, they've got that lapping motion where they curl the tongue backwards to kind of spoon water into the mouth. Most of the herbivores, including these white rhinos, they will kind of suck water into the mouth. So they submerge both of the lips into the water and they make a sucking motion with the mouth, and that will kind of slurp the water in to be swallowed. So the herbivores, impalas and everything like that, they do the same thing. Their tongues are not structured in the same way as most of the carnivores or predators, and so they can't really use the tongue to lap. Kind of like us, we have a very similar structure, I suppose, to a herbivore in that sense. We can't lap things up with our tongues.
What do you think the last minute thing will be? I guess we couldn't have guessed hyena for last night. So what do you think it'll be? Let's get into the dip. There's always something exciting in the dip, just for these last few seconds. Oh, just a few seconds. What's gonna be in the dip? What's gonna be in the dip? We've arrived at the dip, and there is nothing to report. Oh well. Thank you all for joining us. It was a wonderful time, a wonderful safari. Thanks for your questions and your comments. We'll see you this afternoon. Bye for now.